I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friend, do not argue with me. You have intuition. So it's been a little while, folks, since I saw you last. I took a couple of weeks off from our live shows. 1 week I was trying to work poolside for, a Friday afternoon, and of course got rained on. So that didn't really work out that great. And then last week I had a get together with some of our tap dance class group that I haven't seen in a year and a half. So I thought that was definitely a good reason to take the week off from these live workshops. But we're back this week with another episode as of part of the Sabbath series of episodes here on this broadcast, talking about the Sabbath of Lughnasadh or Lammas. Or Lammas, as the case may be. So we will get into that as the main topic of this episode. So I see that we have some regular viewers here already, such as Katie. Hello, Katie. Nice to see you. Healthy breaks, she says. Yes, absolutely. And as you can see here, my overlay, I forgot to do my overlay. So let me quickly do that right now as I do a little bit of a tech check and make sure that everything is broadcasting correctly to both streams. We have this going on Facebook or on YouTube if you so prefer. So I want to make sure it's working in both places. So let me check that right now before I start on the overlay. So give me 2 seconds here. Here's hoping. All right. I know that one of them is definitely working. I know that Facebook is definitely working, but let me just go ahead and check YouTube, make sure everything's working. Yeah, it says live. Oh, hold on 1 second. Yep, it's working over there too. Yay. We're good to go. Okay. I'm going to close up both of those tabs. Otherwise, I'm going to get very confused very, very quickly. Let me set up this overlay. And talk amongst yourselves while I'm doing so. Let me know how it's been going. Let me know how your week has been going. And definitely let me know what's been going on with your week so that we can circle back to that particular day if it's not today, or talking about the weekend, because as always for these episodes, I like to kick off the episode looking at the astrology from Teresa Reed's wonderful AstroBiz Digest before we dive into this week's main topic of the episode. So think about which days might have been difficult for you this week, and we can always circle back and look at the astrology for that too. Like if you had a particularly weird Tuesday and you kind of want to know, was there an astrological reason why? Let me know in the chat and I will take a look once we look at the astrology for today, Saturday, and Sunday. Where are my overlays here? See all as I'm doing the overlay at the same time. Because I do remember, I think Tuesday and Wednesday for me was particularly strange. So yes, because the last time we met, I did the workshop on Lenormand. So that was the last live show we did in this series before I took a couple of weeks off. And definitely check out the replay if you're looking to learn a little bit about Lenormand, which is another divination system that is cartomancy. It's card-based. It's not tarot. It's different from tarot. check that episode out if you are interested in a different form of divination that is card-based but not tarot. Let me see that I'm spelling Lughnasadh correctly. See, it always says that I'm spelling it wrong, and I'm absolutely not spelling it wrong. It's just a strange spelling, because it's a strange word. All right, let's pop some things up to make room for this. Okay, cool. Nope, that is, I can't believe it's July 30th already. Very strange. All right, let me download that and then pop that in, and we will really get started. And I'm having myself a brewski to celebrate the end of the work week for me. So Katie is saying, 6 a.m. Wednesday morning, 8 p.m. Sydney time was a bad time for me this week. Add the word to your dictionary, one of the right click options, then it should stop. Yeah, I've tried to do that, and sometimes it just still doesn't want to. It's just like, nope, you're spelling it wrong. You're definitely spelling it wrong. I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you, spell check, but I'm not spelling it wrong. All right, so we will have to look at 6 a.m. Wednesday morning once we are done with the Astro Biz Digest for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for Katie. So Katie, remind me, and we will go ahead and do that for you. Okay. All right, it looks like this downloaded. So let me go ahead and add this overlay. But you and I think we're experiencing the same kind of weirdness, I believe. All right, overlay, yes. Good, okay, let me hide that. All right, that's looking great. And let me just make sure I'm moving my stuff accordingly. That's not working. Yes, no, maybe so. Nah, that's fine. Okay, so we've got the overlay up. And so you have now to this side right here, you have our agenda for the evening. So first we're going to take a look at the astrology from Therese Reed's wonderful Astro Biz Digest. Then we are going to dive into Lughnasadh, which is part of the Sabbath series, and what Lughnasadh means. What is it? What is a Sabbath? What kind of rituals do you do during Lughnasadh? What kind of foods do you eat? What kind of altars or symbols or dress do you have, and my own personal experiences with Lughnasadh and what I do with my group. And then we will go right into the weekend forecast, which is either a tarot or an oracle card to guide you through this weekend of the beginning of August. Basically, we're at the end of July, beginning of August. So let's get started. 10 minutes in. And I'm going to try and keep it to a hour-long show. I know I always say that, and then we end up going on for like a marathon. But I'm really trying to honor my boundaries and honor the time constrictions. Also, I would really love to be able to upload this to Instagram after I'm done broadcasting. And I can't do that if it's longer than an hour. So let's try and keep it tight, my friends. Sound good to everyone? Let me know in the chat, and we will get started with the astrology. Let me see if I can pull up the astrology on my iPad. All right. AstroBiz Digest weekly forecast for July 26th through August 1st. Now, as always, so Katie agrees. Katie agrees that we are trying to keep it tight like a tiger. All right. So let me make sure I show that I can close up. We've got some notes from my last episode of Lenormand in here that I'm going to try and clear out a little bit. So the AstroBiz Digest is something that Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, does, which is a subscription, and you get astrology to your inbox. It's a $99 a year subscription, and it is amazing. And you get astrology for the month, an overall astrology for the month. And you get stuff in your inbox each week as well. So you get detailed astrology that is in, you will get the reason why. Like you'll have Moon in Gemini in the 6th house and what that means, but you will also get what that means in layman's terms, so that you don't have to feel like you have to know astrology in order to benefit from this subscription service. So I say it every single time I reference the AstroBiz Digest, because I am not an astrologer. I am a tarot reader. It's two different things. But you don't have to be an astrologer to benefit from the AstroBiz Digest. Everything is told to you in plain Jane terms, so that you can benefit from that information. Now, the AstroBiz Digest is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners. However, I have found it to be very helpful in my own personal life as well. So if I start to delve into entrepreneurial business-like jargon, go ahead and tweak that in your mind as I say it. And you can still benefit from what I'm saying, even if you don't feel like you are an entrepreneur or a business person. Got it? Got it? Good. So that link is in the chat if you would like to purchase your own copy of the AstroBiz Digest, and I only give you a little taste. You have to purchase it in order to get the full benefits and every single day of the week for the astrology for those days. So I only share Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because I do not want to take away from Teresa's work. I want to be able to highlight it in such a way that she still benefits as well. Hope that makes sense to everybody. Link is in the chat if you want to purchase that. So let us get into it for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Sound good to everybody? I'm just going to proceed accordingly with a yes. There has been a lot of stuff going on astrologically. We have Mercury in Leo on the 27th, Jupiter moonwalking back into Aquarius on the 28th, Mars in Virgo on the 29th, and all of that, what that means, I will let you know, especially if it's pertinent to the astrology that's going on for today and the weekend. So today we started off with a Moon-Pluto square at 6:44 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that means power struggles and belligerent bullshit. A few big mouths want to control it all, and if one shows up in your world, you can press mute or delete. Lay low until this blows over a few hours later. The news cycle may be interesting this morning, and I haven't gotten an opportunity to really look at the news from today, but I did see that, there's some breaking news about Trump and his tax returns and something else. I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it, but I definitely am seeing the fruition of some of the astrology that Teresa mentioned in the AstroBiz Digest earlier this morning. Slow your roll further when the moon stations void at 3:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a tiny spot in the day to rest and reflect, so important to do if you've been burning every candle at both ends, or if you're feeling completely exhausted by the end of the day. At 4:08 p.m., the moon will be sitting pretty in Taurus, its favorite lunation. Focus on finances, commitments, and creative ventures for the next few days. Most importantly, you'll want to keep a chill vibe tonight and into the weekend. After so much Aries fire, hey Aries, it feels good to touch the earth. One exception, put out a smart marketing blast when the moon trines Mars at 5:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This could bring in a little extra cheddar before your weekend arrives. Today is a power day for Aries, yeah, Aries, and a weak day for Libra. Everyone good so far, or anything that I need to repeat for today, Friday, before we move into the weekend? Just drop it in the chat. And I'll give you a second, and I will hydrate myself with some more of the Montauk Summer Ale. Okay. Katie's saying all good, so I'm going to keep on going. So Saturday and Sunday. Saturday morning is filled with challenging aspects. Sleep in if you can, or focus on quiet activities. I'd recommend balancing the checkbook, paying bills, or perhaps something pleasant that isn't work-related. For example, Teresa's taking her daughter out for brunch. If you must work, the afternoon has a great Moon-Venus trine at 3:41 p.m. This is cash attraction vibes, so get your marketing hopping and the PR popping. Clients appreciate the little touches now. Do something special for your VIPs and make their day. A great idea is to enjoy an impromptu dinner with your team at 9:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The moon will be conjunct Uranus then, an excellent aspect for brainstorming sessions over drinks and grub. Sunday starts off on a business-friendly note with the sun conjunct Mercury at 10:08 a.m. This means the whole day is perfect for hitting the media, sending out newsletters, amping up online marketing, or any sort of meeting. It's also terrific for presentations, classes, and hitting the main stage at events. Kapow! Intuitive insights may be happening at 2:13 p.m. when the moon is in a sextile with Neptune. Keep a notepad nearby and jot those down. Emotions are tender at that time too. Be kind to anyone you encounter. Watch out for communication breakdowns at 5:50 p.m. when the messenger god Mercury opposes Sirius Saturn. Suddenly, no one can see eye to eye, and every signal gets crossed. A Moon-Pluto trine at 7:01 p.m. is stellar for power meetings. Still, the Mercury-Saturn opposition promises to make every negotiation tough. If you're up for it, you'll need to hold your ground and resist folding too early. Both days are power days for Taurus and weekdays for Scorpio. So that is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from the AstroBiz Digest. Now, go ahead and drop in the chat if you want me to cover a different day that you are feeling kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Is the astrology weird? What's happening? Now we can't take every situation and blame it on astrology, but we can definitely use astrology to inform our choices, inform our plans, inform how people are behaving or reacting, and really choose to go with the flow of astrology rather than to work against those energies. So I know that Katie asked for 6 a.m. Wednesday morning, 8 p.m. Sydney time. That was a bad time for me this week. Yes, got it. Yeah. All right. I'm going to keep this up displayed on the screen for you, Katie. So Wednesday. Yeah. So late on Tuesday, 9:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon was void and in an aspect with Pluto. It's better suited for quiet meetings or an evening dreaming of the future. And then Wednesday, energy is at maximum speed with the moon in fiery Aries at 5:58 a.m. Moon wants all the action, so don't sit on your hands, get a move on. Start new projects, take initiative, launch your next big thing. And then 7:42, the moon trined Mercury. Send out a newsletter, get peeps stoked with exclusive offers, sneak peeks, pitch the media. Jupiter will be back into Aquarius until the end of the year, starting at 8:43 a.m. So that might have been a Jupiter moonwalking back into Aquarius. It will linger here until the end of the year before heading back to Pisces. This is a perfect time to review your team and your network. Do you have the right people around you, or are you hanging out with turkeys? Is there enough support in your business or, yourself, or are you still having to go it alone? Be ready to cut some ties and find new hires. Results, a clean network, and a dream team. So examine who is surrounding you right now and what was going on Wednesday to make you revisit that. Was it a particular project that you were working on where it was like those kind of like group project vibes from when you were back in school that you ended up doing all the work? Like, this is a really good time, or at least Wednesday was a really good time for you to examine your support system and your team and see who's cutting it, and who's not. Let's see, what else? So that's Jupiter in Aquarius. Moon is in a happy aspect to the sun at 5:19. Be seen and you'll see green. And Wednesday was a power day for Aries and a weak day for Libra. So does that help, Katie? Yeah. Lack of support and the team not being so supportive. So yes, that nails it. Great. I'm so glad that helps. Yep. And me speaking up about it, and they still not seeing it, so probably never will. Yeah, I mean, with certain situations, it may be just something that is information for you and not necessarily anything that can be done with those people. Like, if you've explained it and they're still not getting it, then it's probably more about surrounding yourself with the right people or the right energy or the right attitude rather than like forcing it. Because no matter, like, it's, there's certain situations where you can't force people to be different, or you can't force a reaction or an understanding then that's not there. Like the self-awareness has to come first for those people before they can make any kind of change. And I don't think the awareness is going to be there. Therefore, no change can really be made. Like, the only thing that you can control is what you're doing and how you're reacting. Like, ultimately, it's all information, right? But that really sucks to hear that, you tried to get support and it's lacking. So, okay. Are we ready to talk about Lughnasadh? I'm going to go ahead and put up the countdown widget. Lughnasadh in, let me give it maybe a minute and a half. I'll give people an opportunity to ask any more questions about the astrology before we move into Lughnasadh. Yep. So Katie's saying nods, 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 and bring on the Sabbats. Yes, absolutely. So I have a couple of different references that I'm going to cite tonight for the Lughnasadh episode. We're going to be working off of information that I actually just got from Rebecca Campbell from her Rise Sister Rise membership course. And if you like some of the things that she has to say, I would really recommend getting yourself into the membership for that course. There's a lot of updates that happen. I don't know if enrollment is available right now, whether it's like kind of an evergreen, you can enroll at any time, or whether or not it's only open at certain times. So you would have to look into that yourself. I don't know off the top of my head. So we've got some materials from there. I'm also going to be citing from Gabby Herstick's book, Craft, How to Be a Modern Witch. This is the UK version because I wanted the hardcover that has the crystalline kind of background to it. But this appears in the United States under the title Inner Witch, I believe, is the title of the US version, if you want to pick up a copy of your own. And then I'm also going to be citing, again, from The Real Witch's Craft, Magical Techniques and Guidance for a Full Year of Practicing the Craft by Kate West. So, and we've actually got the Wheel of the Year, of which Lughnasadh or Lammas is a part of. Where is it? Right over here. And that really helps me with the visual, because for some of you that are in the Southern Hemisphere, you are currently celebrating in bulk. You are celebrating the opposite. So you're currently celebrating in bulk if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Us Northern Hemisphere witches are celebrating Lughnasadh. Makes sense to everybody? So these are some of the sources that I'm talking from, talking points. Again, as always, when I start out some of these workshops, especially the Sabbath series workshops, please do a deep dive for your own information about these different Sabbaths, because I don't really have time in these workshops to go fully in depth, but definitely use this workshop as a jumping off point to do your own research into Lughnasadh, and see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And that goes also for everything that I'm saying. If I give you a particular association with Lughnasadh that personally doesn't resonate for you, please put it aside, take what works for you, and leave the rest to the side. Okay? Okay. All right. So let's see. That is a Lughnasadh ritual and information. So let me pull up some of these documents. So in general, Lughnasadh or Lammas starts off, is almost like the first of 3 harvest celebrations or festivals. We start with Lughnasadh, then we follow into the autumn equinox, and then I believe Samhain is the final harvest. So it's like almost like 3 moments, like this is the first harvest, this is the second harvest, and then Samhain, you better have harvested everything, because now it's time to go into the dark time of the year, or the winter time. We're prepping basically for the winter time. So you better make sure that your harvest has been gathered, because otherwise this is your final chance. So it's almost like Lughnasadh is the first harvest and Samhain is the final harvest. So these are the first, this one's the first of 3. So we've got Lammas, Lughnasadh over here. We've got Madron over here. I don't call it Mabon. I call it the autumn equinox, only because there's conflation going on with Welsh mythology when we call it Mabon, and that is incorrect. So don't call it Mabon. It's autumn equinox. And then the final harvest and the witch's new year is Samhain. So let me pull up my documents. And I'm trying to distill 10 pages from Rebecca Campbell into a short synopsis so that I can move on to my next source of information as well. So the Wheel of the Year is celebrated by many spiritual seekers all over the world, including pagans, Wiccans, witches of all kinds, and also nature lovers who do not follow a specific spiritual tradition. We also do have someone that usually tunes in over IGTV, and hopefully I have you watching it wherever you're watching, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. But there is someone that has tuned in for the Sabbath series before and said, how can I celebrate these Sabbats? Because I am not a person who is deity centered in my spiritual beliefs or practices. Can I still celebrate the Sabbats? And the answer is yes, absolutely. You can still celebrate the Sabbats without it being deity focused. Just acknowledge what is going on naturally and seasonally around you and plan accordingly. It doesn't have to be deity focused. If you are that kind of person that has focuses your spirituality on more nature-based rather than deity focused. Totally gotcha. You don't have to. Okay. So it celebrates the turning of the seasons, and those who follow its rhythms mark its seasonal festival days or Sabbats. There are 4 greater Sabbats and 4 lesser Sabbats, although neither of these cycles is more important than the other. Now, remember, I am citing from Rebecca Campbell's Rise Sister Rise membership site for her Lughnasadh workbook. So please keep that in mind as I'm citing. The dates for these celebration days are different in the northern and southern hemispheres, like I said before. When you are celebrating Lughnasadh, it is the 1st of August in the northern hemisphere and the 1st or 2nd of February in the southern hemisphere for Lughnasadh. At this time of year, for you southern hemisphere witches, you are celebrating the holiday of Imbolc. And when we celebrate in the northern hemisphere, we are celebrating Imbolc on the 1st or 2nd of February. You guys are celebrating Imbolc on the 1st or 2nd of August for the southern hemisphere. So I got you, southern hemisphere witches. And we will talk about Imbolc when it's Imbolc in my neck of the woods. Hold on until then. Actually, I think I did do a Yule and Imbolc workshop, and that is in the replays or the archives of past episodes. So you can go ahead and do a search. Not now. Stay tuned. Keep it here live. But after this episode is over, you can totally look in the replays or the archives to check out those episodes. So let me go back into my notes here. So Lughnasadh is the 1st of August in the northern hemisphere. The lesser Sabbats or quarter days are the 4 solar festivals that mark the sun's position in the sky at different times of the year. So the lesser Sabbats are Ostara, Litha, or the summer solstice, the autumn fall equinox, and Yule. The greater Sabbats, of which Lughnasadh is one, are cross-quarter days, are fire festivals that were often celebrated at the time of the new or full moon, with communities coming together to celebrate around a great fire. So oftentimes when we have Sabbats such as these, or the greater Sabbats, there is usually a bonfire associated with these 4. So they are Imbolc, Beltane, Lughnasadh, and Samhain. So I will be talking about Lughnasadh and how we connect with ourselves, our communities, divine, and the nature of the world around us at this time in both northern and southern hemispheres. We live in different climates. Some ideas shared here will resonate more than others, depending on your location, and adapt these suggestions to your own environment and also what you are feeling personally. So themes of Lughnasadh are giving thanks, fertility, abundance, celebrating our achievements, the first harvest, like I was saying before, the first fruits of our labor, community, working together for a common goal, the living earth, contests and games. I'll talk a little bit about Lu, the god Lu, and the Lughnasadh Games, which was basically kind of the precursor to the Olympics. And other names are Lammas, Lughnasadh in Irish, Lughnasadh in Scottish Gaelic, and I'm probably butchering the pronunciation, and I'm very sorry for that. And I'm definitely going to be butchering this next one because it's in Manx. Luan Lughnasadh in Manx. Everyone with me so far? Besides Katie saying, love a good bonfire, right? And also be safe. Be safe. If you're going to do a bonfire, be safe. Fire safety is sexy. And where are my notes? I swear I took notes of my own too while I was looking over these materials. Let's see. Yep. So the first of 3 harvest festivals, taking stock and celebrating what we've created in the last 6 to 12 months. What results can we see from our hard work? What are we proud of and grateful of, or grateful for? So when I was taking some of these notes, I was realizing it's kind of a very 7 of Pentacles kind of Sabbath we're talking about, where, let's see if I can get the visual quickly by pulling from my cards. Oh, cool. It's right here. I swear I can't make this stuff up, guys. I got the 7 of Pentacles right here as the deep card, or the soul card, bottom of the deck. Awesome. Can't make that up, but I'm very glad that that just happened live on camera. So to me, Lughnasadh, and I always try and relate stuff back to the tarot if I can. So to me, Lughnasadh is very much a 7 of Pentacles kind of Sabbath, kind of ritual or gathering, especially about gratitude and Thanksgiving, and evaluating as well. Like, notice the man in the card, he's kind of looking over the bush. He's planted the seed. He's watched the pentacles come to fruition, or these fruits on the bush, and now he's contemplating what to do next, what his next action is. So it is kind of a very 7 of Pentacles type of gathering, Sabbath, celebration. I'm really glad that I grabbed that. Can't make this stuff up, guys. So we're often so busy that we're often so busy living our lives, working through, working hard to achieve, that we don't acknowledge all that we have achieved, or are even aware sometimes of all that we've achieved, unless we sit down, take a pause, and really evaluate and look over, where were we 6 to 12 months ago, and where are we now, and what we have accomplished. So building a bonfire, having a picnic, it's like a little Thanksgiving. You can make flower garlands, you can make offerings to nature spirits and the genus loci, or the spirits of the land. Make your offering beautiful. You can celebrate with food by gathering wild herbs, berries, flowers, edible flowers that you can incorporate into your cooking. Basically gathering what is ready to be gathered, 7 of Pentacles, and creating something beautiful from it. Does that make sense to everybody? So those were my quick notes on Lughnasadh. More from Rebecca Campbell. So Lughnasadh happens on 1st of August in the Northern Hemisphere, and on the 1st or 2nd of February in the Southern Hemisphere. The modern Irish name for the festival, Lughnasadh, is also the name for the month of August in Irish. So Lughnasadh is the first of 3 harvest festivals. The autumn equinox follows 6 weeks later, with Samhain taking place 6 weeks after that. Lughnasadh takes place at the time of the year when the first harvest has ripened and is ready to be gathered in, and its themes are abundance, gratitude, and seeing the first signs of what we have sowed starting to pay off. Again, that 7 of Pentacles energy. Harvest festivals are common to many different cultures around the world. Some cultures have celebration days centered around the harvesting of a particular crop, such as the Yoruba tribes of Nigeria, who celebrate the New Yam Festival at the end of the rainy season in early August. Lughnasadh is sometimes referred to as Lammas or Lammas, the name of an English festival that happens at this time of the year. Lammas means loaf mass and celebrates the harvesting of the grain to make bread. So if you want to make bread, Lughnasadh is a wonderful time to invest in a bread maker, make some bread. Oh, Zuri's here. Hello. Welcome back. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're talking about Lughnasadh. So, Zuri, any comments, thoughts, rituals that you do? Also, any live sales that you're offering soon? That so that people might want to supplement their Lughnasadh rituals with some of your fine merchandise. Feel free, drop it in the chat. I'm happy to support you. She does some good work. I actually have back here. I have your card from my last purchase. So, and I have my protection hand on my altar. So, just to let you know, and I have my rose quartz pendulum right here. Oh boy. Okay. So Zuri says, not yet, still unpacking from the move, maybe another week or so. Cool beans. You do you. All right. So back to the notes from Rebecca Campbell. Festival of Lugh. So here's the origins. Lughnasadh derives its name from Lugh, one of the most prominent gods in Irish mythology. Lugh was said to be one of the Tuatha De Danann, which means the folk of the goddess Danu. And the Tuatha De Danann was their supernatural race of gods or goddesses, the first people of Ireland. Lugh was associated with skill, mastery, warriorship, the arts, and the law. In some old stories, Lugh is said to have started the festival in honor of his foster mother, the goddess Talcha. See, I'm gonna get these pronunciations right eventually, and my goddess Bridget is just like, yeah, okay, you got that one right. You butchered some of the others. The goddess Talcha, who expended great effort clearing the plains of Ireland so that they could be used for agriculture, and eventually died of exhaustion in the process. Lugh then vowed that her offering would be remembered and commemorated annually. And oftentimes that annual commemoration was in the form of feats of strength and game and skill, because that is something that Lugh was known for, that he was so talented, and that's one of his mythology and origin stories is him trying to get respite and asking, do you have a blacksmith? Yes, we have a blacksmith. Well, do you have an archer? Yes, we have an archer. Okay, well, do you have someone who can do all of it? No, we don't. Okay, well, I can. So Lugh is the many skilled. The commemoration and celebration was often games of feat and strength and skill or performance in honor of his foster mother, Talcha. So, and that's kind of the precursor to the Olympic Games as well. Other stories depict Lughnasadh as a celebration of Lugh's wedding to the land. Because it's the first of 3 harvest festivals, when we celebrate Lughnasadh, there is a great feeling of abundance, as well as the harvest we have been blessed with now. We know that there is more to come and also more work to do. In our own lives, while most of us won't be working to gather a harvest at this time, this translates to taking stock and celebrating what we have created in the last 6 to 12 months. What results have we seen from our labor? This could be creative projects, home, wealth, health, spiritual connection, relationships. Again, we're often so busy that we don't take time to acknowledge everything that we've achieved or even aware of all that we have achieved. So Lughnasadh is a wonderful time to really acknowledge what those things are and give ourselves a pat on the back. Doing so also motivates us to keep up with the good work, ensuring that there are many more harvests for us to celebrate. So it is very much about gratitude and giving thanks. Fairs, festivals, and games. This include local contests such as tugs of war, puck fairs, and then, of course, the Highland Games of Scotland as well. Makes sense to everybody? And that's only just one source. So let us move on. And let me see. So again, that's from Rise Sister Rise membership, and the sources there from Rebecca Campbell and her team. So that's just one source. So Katie is saying, good stuff. Awesome. Yes, I agree. So let us move on to what Gabby Herstick says about Lughnasadh. Lughnasadh, or Lughnasadh, named after the Celtic sun god Lugh, cross-quarter day and the first of 3 harvest holidays, marking the beginning of the harvest season. Feasting, games, song. It's when we welcome in the impending darkness on an energetic level. Our spirits begin to shift and prepare for autumn. What needs more nourishment? How about less? Lammas, or Lammas, allows us to see how our goals from midsummer or Litha are holding up, and it offers us the opportunity to prepare ourselves for the coming season, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Decorating your altar with grains, poppies, bilberries, wheat, and other seasonal pickings, candles in autumn colors like gold, brown, and burgundy, dark red and orange stones like citrine, carnelian, tiger's eye, and amber. The Sun Tarot card. Heck, like I was saying before, I'm feeling that 7 of Pentacles for Lughnasadh, so you can always put both the Sun and the 7 of Pentacles on your altar. It's all good. Or the Empress card as well, because I'm just thinking about the Empress card and how she's seated almost in this field of grains as well. So you can always put the Empress card on your altar too for Lughnasadh. And also any cards that you're feeling energetically connected to, or feeling that is something that you're manifesting, or something that you want to give gratitude for, or is a representation of your particular situation that you were able to manifest or give thanks or acknowledge. Put those cards on your altar as well. And remember, we are going to do an episode on altars and creating altars in the future, probably next month, since we are on July 30th. That's one of the episodes that I'm pushing back to August. So we will definitely talk about altars and making your altars. Non-ritual ways to celebrate: baking fresh bread, picking crops, or making a list of that which you intend to harvest, both spiritually and mentally. Keeping this list where you can see it. Spending time nurturing yourself or your loved ones, writing in your journal, reading the tarot, taking time to give thanks. There's also a suggested ritual in this book, like there is for all the other Sabbats as well. So I would definitely recommend picking up this book, which is named Inner Witch in the United States. It's not named Craft, and it's by Gabriella Herstick. So. This is actually a spell that involves a lot of writing and journaling, pen and paper, to ask yourself writing down what nourishes you and writing down what depletes you, ripping the 2 sections apart, and then ritualistically disposing of that paper, either by burning it, which would make a lot of sense, considering we are talking about basically a fire festival. You may want to use fire in your ritual. For Lughnasadh. Questions? Any questions or comments about that? I really like that. It's all going to be variations on a theme of giving thanks and gratitude. So there you go. Source number 2. Finally, source number 3. We have The Real Witch's Craft, again, talking about the Sabbats and the seasons and the rhythms, the why we celebrate at this time and what we celebrate. So the Sabbats, again, are seasonal festivals, and They're times of celebration rather than for working of magic. However, if you have magic that you need to work at this time, you can certainly incorporate that and incorporate the energies of the Sabbath into your spells and magic. However, you may want to keep your Sabbath as a time of renewal, reflection, and celebration. It's up to you. It's whatever you're feeling personally. Okay. So again, from The Real Witch's Craft by Kate West, we have Lughnasadh, the festival of the god Lugh, first of the harvest, first marked by the first cutting of the ripened corn. Traditionally, this is a festival of sacrifice, with blood and wine being given back to the land in payment for the coming of the harvest. The energies of this festival can be used in magic for growth and development, for recognition, progress, and advancement. Keeping it really short on that one. Because I do want to acknowledge and talk a little bit about how my coven celebrates, how I've celebrated in different groups at different times of the year. And I've also, hold on one second. I was going to charge up my noise canceling headphones, but they're making a weird sound, so I'm not going to do that right now. So some of the ways that I have celebrated Lughnasadh in the past with different groups is we have done the Lughnasadh games, feats of incredible strength and skill, as well as poetry. So we almost did this like kind of talent show where people would perform, either sing or dance or drum or recite poetry or do a comedy act. And we always would start the talent show with a dramatic retelling of the god Lugh and a little bit of the snippet of what I said before of Lugh's story about going to the door and saying, get you a god that can do both, or get you a god that can do all of it. So let me see if I can look up that story. I might not read all of it right now because, again, I want to keep this tight. I don't think we're going to make it to an hour. I think we're going to go a little bit over, but still. The long arm of Lugh. Here we go. Actually, this is pretty short, so. And I'll provide the link to this after, but here's a short version. One day when stories of Lugh, when Lugh was born, his grandfather ordered him to be killed. Ignoring the cries of his distraught mother, he was cast to the waves and all believed him to be drowned. However, the woman druid called Birog, that's not the correct pronunciation, I'm sure, Birog, who have woven magic spells to bring Can and Ithnin together, who were considered Lugh's mother and father in this particular retelling, cast another spell. That spell brought Lugh from the sea into the arms of his father. Lugh was fostered by Talcha, daughter of the king of the Great Plain and of Ekid the Rough. He was taught all the arts, and his skill was so great with a sword and his reach so long and accurate that he acquired the name Lugh of the Long Arm. One day when Lugh had grown, at the time when King Nadhu had been restored to his throne, he arrived at the door of the king's fort. He asked the doorkeeper to tell the king that he wanted to join his household. The doorkeeper told Lugh that no one could join the king's household without a special skill. "I'm a builder," said Lugh. "We already have a builder," said the doorkeeper. "I am a smith, a champion, a harper, a warrior, a poet, a magician, a physician, a cupbearer, and a brazier," said Lugh. "But we already have someone who possesses each of the skills you mentioned," said the doorkeeper. "Then do you have someone who is skilled in all these things together?" said Lu. And indeed, there was no one, so Lu was admitted to the king's household. So get you a god that can do it all. Before the second battle of Moytura, Natu gave Lu charge over his army. Lu identified the special skill of all the leaders of the troops before going into battle. At the battle, Lu killed his grandfather Baylor. Baylor, otherwise known as Baylor of the Evil Eye, had lifted his eye with the intention of poisoning all it would behold. Lu slew his grandfather with a slingshot that he aimed into his evil eye. Lu became the new king of the Tuatha De Danann. He spared the life of Breus, who had connived against them in exchange for agricultural advice. Lughnasadh, the Irish word for August, is called after him. So that's from bardmythologies.com. And I'll go ahead and share it here. So that's one of the things that we would do in our personal rituals and personal celebrations of Lughnasadh, is we would do a talent show or feats of strength and skill. And before we would do that, we would do a dramatic retelling. And I do mean a dramatic retelling of the story that I just described, where we would have different people playing different roles, and there would be funny voices and, over the top exaggerated gestures and us running all over the place, simulating battles and the doorkeeper and exchange the conversation that I just mentioned. And it would be very silly and it would be very over the top, but it was also very wonderful as well. It was almost like this very big, grandiose picnic that we would do. And so it almost was like a summertime version of Thanksgiving in honor of the autumn and the first harvest. And I'm sure there are other ways I have celebrated before. None of them come to mind except for the one time that I was in Ireland during Lughnasadh, and so we attended several celebrations of different variations, but one of the celebrations we actually did a ritual on the site where I think the first Lughnasadh was actually held in Telltown, I believe. So, Katie says, pantomime time. Okay. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But yeah, we did do almost like a sacrificing, like a John Barleycorn kind of thing, where we had we've done stuffings of bread or straw into a dolly or representation, and then we like disemboweled him and bread spewed everywhere. But I think that was for our autumn equinox ritual, more so than for our Lughnasadh ritual. So we'll talk about that. I might be fast forwarding a little too much. That's more autumn equinox than Lughnasadh. All right. So that's Lughnasadh for you. Does anyone have any questions, comments, any specific ways that they celebrate Lughnasadh? Go ahead and drop it into the chat so I can shout you out and we can share it amongst each other before I move into the weekend forecast and wrap up this episode. And I have a surprise for the weekend forecast. So that's a great question. So Katie is asking, what are you planning to do yourself this year? Well, I was actually just discussing this and it crept up on me, honestly. So I'll usually do the same thing that I just described with my coven. It's usually outdoors, and we'll do the feats of strength and skill and the dramatic retelling of the story that I just described about Lugh. Get you a god that can do it all. But I may not be doing that this year, only because I'm realizing that I need to rest and recuperate, because I've been doing a lot lately. And I know that sounds silly considering this is my first time back after 2 weeks, but I just feel like I need to rest and recuperate, and that I've been really burning the candle at both ends. So I might be just doing a personal ritual and staying home, and taking a nice long walk at the park, maybe baking a pie, and having it be more contemplative, and kind of journaling like ritual, instead of something big and fiery. I'm thinking that it's like, I don't know, I just feel like I've expended a lot of energy over the last month, and I'm depleted, and I need to give back to myself. So that's my plan, is giving back to myself and patting myself on the back and allowing myself to do nothing, because I think I need to restore myself, rather than keep pushing it. So, yeah, not very exciting, but just something that my soul and spirit needs. Sounds perfect. Yeah, I hope so. I just need it. I need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put on a countdown to the weekend forecast. Give people time to put in their own thoughts about what they're going to be doing. And I'll give that about a minute, and then we'll move on to the weekend forecast. And then wrap up the episode. I'm prepping. I'm prepping for the weekend forecast. Okay, I was looking up a link, but I don't know if this is available anymore, and I'm sorry if it is, guys. If it isn't, guys, but I was a backer for Jamie Sawyer's Pocket of Peers tarot deck on Kickstarter, and so this is going to be preview. This is going to be my deck of the month for the month of August. I'm going to go back to a singular deck and work with it every day of the month of August for my card of the day pulls. But let me show you guys a little show and tell before I go ahead and pull from it for the weekend forecast. So I backed the Kickstarter for Pocket of Peers at, I think, the peer level, which came with this beautiful bag from Moonlit Fae. Okay, which has pockets and this beautiful interior. 2 pockets on each side. And it's nice and roomy. So it has room for the guidebook, which is gorgeous and full color and has a notes page opposite each of the interpretations of each of the 78 cards. Gorgeous. So that's the guidebook. It also came with Let's Get Social, so all of Jamie's information. It came with, oh, I hope I didn't ruin it. It came with stickers. It came with this lovely bookmark, which I'm going to use with the guidebook. It came with this woodcut card stand, and that's good for one card. So that is what the card of the day is going to be perched up on. I can show you really quickly here with the 7 of Pentacles. So you just slip it in there on a flat surface. I'm going to use my palm as a flat surface, but there it is, standing up. Okay. And of course, finally, last but certainly not least, you have the deck itself, the Pocket of Peers Tarot deck. Now, in this beautiful, beautiful casing that has, I believe, a magnetic closure here, so no need for silk bags, ladies and gentlemen, because the packaging is awesome. Okay, so I'm seeing some freaking out happening in the chat. Wow, and what an amazing package. Yes, yes, indeedy. So I am going to pull our weekend forecast from this lovely, lovely deck, and then this will be the deck for the month of August for the card of the day. So this is your first look and preview of the card of the day using the Pocket of Peers Tarot deck by Jamie Sawyer. And now the reason why I backed this is because pretty much everyone I know is in this deck. So it's kind of hard for me to not back this deck because, like, I literally know a lot of people in this deck. So, and I also find it very funny because I'm not in this deck, but I'm going to be in a forthcoming tarot deck. I don't have any information about it thus far, but that is my my profile picture. So that profile picture right down there, that is me as the Page of Wands in the forthcoming tarot deck, which I don't know anything about yet. So more details when I have it. So I'm Page of Wands in that deck. And funnily enough, Jamie Elford, my fellow co-host on the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast, she is the Page of Wands in this deck. So if anyone was in any doubt that we are fire signs, there you go. That's like incontrovertible evidence that we are fire signs because we're both Page of Wands in respective tarot decks. Anyway, so are we ready for the weekend forecast pulled from the Pocket of Peers Tarot deck? And check this. Can you see that? Isn't that gorgeous? And the bottom of the deck is the Kabbalah's Tree of Life. Yeah. Yes, please release the awesomeness. Let the dogs, let loose the dogs of war, or the dogs of tarot. All right, so I'm shuffling it up. And, ooh, hold on 1 second. Let me put on this crawler for the weekend forecast. Cannot forget that. All right, what do we most need to know for this weekend? A reading, a 1-card reading for the collective. Oh, there's nothing better than fresh, new tarot deck smell. All right, what do we most need to know for this weekend? Oh boy. All right. Well, this is kind of a sit up and pay attention kind of reading because we do have a major arcana card coming up. And that is the card of awakening. So if you recognize the number 20, what is the number 20 in a tarot deck? That is the Judgment card normally, but it has been renamed to Awakening in the Pocket of Peers tarot deck. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and flip to the guidebook. And then, of course, give my own interpretation if it's so needed. But I have a feeling that we're going to be good with just the interpretation from the book. So the model for this is Logan Townsend. And this is the Awakening card. There comes a time in life when we start to question habits, traditions, inherited beliefs. This shows up in different ways depending on our ancestral backgrounds and how we were raised. That first pang in the pit of our gut, our intuitive energy center, triggers a feeling of unease. Just because something has always been done a specific way doesn't necessarily mean it fits the world we live in today. We can choose to suppress that feeling and go about the same old routines, or we can follow the lead, to peel back the layers, pulling at the threads of fate, unraveling until we get to our own comforts of personal beliefs. Awakening begins when we start to genuinely think for ourselves, paving our own trails. It is a journey of self-discovery and one of asking the right questions. Points to ponder. When this card shows up, it may be asking you about your belief systems and how you connect with them. Have you ever stopped to question your actions or ideals when faced with an issue? The strategy and habits that seem to come naturally, when did you learn them and how did they develop into a routine? What beliefs are infallible in your mind? Again, where did they come from? If this is a familial tradition, who do you think began this line of thinking? Do you think you'd be able to sit across from them at the table today and have a civil conversation? If yes, how might it go? If no, why do you continue to carry this thought as a belief? At what point are you willing to rewrite your own story? And how might your preamble go? So this is the Judgment card, basically, renamed to Awakening in the Pocket of Peers. So when the Judgment card comes up in a reading for me or when I'm working with a client, I'm often asking them very similar questions to what the guidebook has just told us about points to ponder and the interpretation, basically. But I also ask about not necessarily karma, but also the wake-up calls, or what is your destiny, or what are you fulfilling the life or the purpose that you want to be fulfilling right now? Oftentimes the Judgment card is depicted as the rapture, and it is a wake-up call for people to start actually being an active participant in their life and not just going along with the motions. So again, like what the interpretation in the guidebook says, really pondering where your beliefs come from and whether or not they are in alignment with your actions and what your beliefs are currently in your world and your place in the world right now. So it's a very deep card. It's a very deep weekend forecast. So I'm going to end it there, but consider all of those points to ponder and all of that interpretation as well as my own. And that is something that you're going to be dealing with this weekend. So I hope that helps you. I hope it serves you. Katie says, very striking. Yep. Yep. So that's just one card out of the 78 cards of the Pocket of Peers Tarot that we are going to be diving into in the Card of the Day posts for the month of August. So stay tuned for that on my social media. I guess that's it. That's it for this week's episode. I thank you all so much for watching. I thank you for having patience with me as I took a couple of weeks off. I appreciate it greatly. And we will be doing this again next Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With a scheduling episode, basically. What episodes do you want? And also rescheduling those episodes that we didn't do this month, such as the altars episode and also filming tarot spreads. I am coming up with a gear list for you guys, as well as, you know, an entire episode on the subject. So, you know, that is still going to happen. I am going to have to take August 13th off. Just letting you know now, for a good reason that I'm not going to go into right now, but I will go into closer to that date. So again, Fridays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we do this. And go back and look at previous episodes. We've covered all different types of topics in the replays, such as charming a tarot card, the major arcana, the minor arcana, Lenormand, oracle cards, the Tessera, and unboxing the Tessera, boundaries, two-part episode series, all sorts of different things. So take a look back there, and if there is a topic that you want me to cover again, I'm happy to do so as well. So think about that, get back to me, bring your ideas to next week's episode, because we are going to be scheduling those. So that's it. Katie says, thank you very much. Have a good weekend. You as well. I appreciate you all so much for watching. And again, let me put up my contact information here. Once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition, because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. If you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so right here at this web address, tarotbyhilary.com. I am currently still not seeing in-person clients, but I can read for you over Skype, over phone, over email, and I am more than happy to do so. And it is just as good as an in-person reading. Sometimes I think more so, because you're getting a great reading from the comfort of your own home. And honestly, you're not focused on you know, coffee table or coffee house chatter. You're focused solely on the reading, locked in. So I prefer it, honestly. And I will definitely let you all know when I am reopening to in-person readings. So stay tuned for that as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you again next week, same time, same bat channel, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye.